This is the BodyFuel Performance and Lifestyle Nutrition Podcast. We're here to help you navigate all things nutrition, especially for sports performance, weight loss, and healthy eating. I'm your host, Andrew Dole, registered dietitian, certified executive chef, and USA triathlon coach. Here we go. Hey everyone, thanks for listening and or watching today's show. Topics for the BodyFuel podcast. The Harambe Project, coming back from Santa Fe, and my experience hanging out with Ryan Bolton, coach of two amazing superhuman professional marathon runners. That'll be interesting to talk about. A product review for a product that I found for a client. Ended up eating it on my 10-hour drive there and back to Santa Fe from Colorado. I think it's an absolutely amazing product. I have a pretty cool discount code too. Can't wait to share that with you. And then the main topics for today are going to be the 4 major vegan diet concerns. If you're out there saving the planet, don't do it at the expense of your health. And we're going to talk about some major vegan concerns and the solutions. All right, here we go. Harambe Project, what I learned. These professional runners and their coach were the most down-to-earth, real human beings I think I'd been around in a very long time. Not sure what I expected. I've met some professional athletes in the past, and they weren't the nicest. These folks, Carolyn, Alphine, and Ryan, were just good people. And they were humble. They were nice. They talked to you like you're human. They treated you like you were human, and they just wanted to be treated like they were human. It was a very positive experience. I want to say thank you very much to all of them for having me down there. Carolyn for taking me running and dealing with the whole process. Letting me prepare dinner for them. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. I got to tell you, scrambling down in Santa Fe looking for a commercial. I ended up going to Walmart, got a big tub, and drove to the commercial restaurant store and was just filling it up with things that I knew I needed to cook at Ryan's house. It turned out pretty good, so thanks. They all had kind words. What I really learned, takeaway sport-wise, not just running specific, but I would say any sport, is touches. Get and do it as often as you possibly can. I think for triathlon, swimming would be a really good example. I don't know if I'd say it's wasting time, but I think there's more efficient uses of your time. Getting in the pool once or twice a week for an hour or 2 hours isn't as impactful as getting in the pool 4 or 5 times a week, even 6 times a week for 30 minutes. Those touches will improve economy. Where did that come from? Well, part of it came from some of the USAT triathlon coaching sessions I've been to, and a lot of the things that I've read, but listening to Carolyn talk about how long she's been running, me bringing up some topics about what, as American runners, we're taught to learn how to do, like, hey, do you breathe this way? And she's like, no one should ever be taught or need to learn how to breathe. Your body should just do it. And she had been running since she was little. Matter of fact, the story was pretty fun. Her grandfather bought her first shoes, and she was running races without them. They were just odd. That was, talk about grassroots. I just been doing this forever. Great story. And that takes us into the group effect. Up above me, you'll see a trail of cars. I am the last one in that group, and we started driving before the sun was even up to go out to run in New Mexico to do Carolyn and Alaphine's really hard, right up to race day, race week taper, big run. And those cars are full of people who get ready to go get their ass kicked. And they did. It was amazing. I know I did. It was a lot of fun. But the group effect, they all got out there and ran together. They weren't all the same level. Clearly, there were 2 of them that were professional marathoners. Another one that we met out who was out there was a junior youth marathon winner from another country coming out to run with Carolyn Alaphine. The rest of the group were people who train with BEST, Bolton Endurance Sports Training. They're in their late 20s, early 30s, had been collegiate runners. They were amazing in their own right. But they all trained together. They made each other better. Steel sharpens steel, and that was very evident. So a huge takeaway from this experience was, man, I got to get out, or we got to get out of this solo triathlon. I have a plan. My coach gave me this. I needed to go bury myself alone. I think I suffered some of that last year, last couple of years of just like, oh, my coach gave me this. I can't go do that. Well, when it comes to club runs and it comes to team or group efforts, I am going to make a point to get everyone together and for me to be out, because steel does sharpen steel. I may not be the fastest. I might be the slowest, or maybe one day I will be the fastest. But just expanding that bubble and getting out of your tiny bubble and training with other people who are better than you will make you better. And then the sign underneath, you can't see it, that says the dangerous road, not maintained, hazardous to public use. Actually, it says primitive road. It was very primitive, and it was very beautiful, and it was some hard running. I also learned that these ladies went out and did one of their harder training runs on some amazingly hard terrain. This was not just packed dirt. This was packed dirt, rutted, where it was domed in the middle with ruts in the center, huge rocks, not even footing by any means, huge roots, and they were running amazing paces. So where I would have thought that they were going to go do this on a road, absolutely not. They didn't. They went out and ran hard on sick, crazy hard terrain, which makes running on easy pavement even easier. It's a whole different perception of how to train, having been around them for a very short period of time. And I hope you guys get some takeaway from that, from me just talking about it. So thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, Elafine. Hopefully you'll have me back down there to cook for you. It was great. Moving on to the product review. I heart quinoa. For those of you who are listening, it is iheartquinoa.com, and it's spelled Keenwah. So these are quinoa clusters that are sort of packed together into these little chunks. And this one was sea salt and chocolate. Amazing. They were good before they all melted in the car during my drive down to Santa Fe and back. And they were, I think, even better after they melted together. The owner was nice enough to give us a 15% discount code if you order online through the shop.iheartquinoa.com. It's 15%, and the code is BodyFuel. BodyFuel, all one word. I hope you pick them up. I think they're fantastic. Where did I find these? I was looking for a carbohydrate solution to a client who traveled a lot, was at work a lot, didn't have an opportunity to eat very well, and had a very intolerant GI system. So FODMAPs, didn't deal with carbohydrates particularly well, didn't get a lot of protein in through the day, wasn't able to eat before and after training, just really kind of a disaster area scene. And these popped up when I was doing a product search looking for anything that can meet the need. They do. And the ingredient list is short, despite the fact that it looks tiny here. I just made it bigger. Without the words organic, this is a very short list. I think that's fantastic. Looking at the nutrition facts, here we go. I'll pull it up. One serving is 130 calories with 6 grams of fat, 17 grams of carbs, 2 grams of fiber, 3 grams of protein, and 6 grams of sugar. I'm not sure I could find something that was that complete in protein, that low in sugar, that has a good taste, but that high in protein overall. Really a good product, and I hope you enjoy it. So again, it's iheartquinoa.com. You can go to their online store and use the code BODYFUEL, all one word, BODYFUEL, for a 15% discount. I hope I can help this brand grow. They deserve it. It's a good product. Now, moving on to the 4 major health concerns. We're going to get started right into the main topic right now. Those of you who are listening and can't see, I've pulled up a presentation, and I have 4 major concerns in a giant puzzle piece, because saving the world by not eating animals and having sustainability is some people's goal, and that is fine. I'm not going to argue the benefits or the pros and cons of vegan, vegetarian, or being an omnivore. That's not my point. What I want to bring out is that being a vegan can be dangerous. Being a vegan can be healthy, but you need to do it the appropriate way. And with about 1 million of our adolescents and teens now being vegetarian. It's not like this hidden thing anymore. A lot of them are looking at being strictly vegan for a lot of reasons. A lot of them are political or idealistic or moral. Their family, they got it from their families. A lot of them aren't coming from vegetarian or vegan families, which makes it even worse. So if you're an adult and you're a vegan, or you have a child who wants to be vegan, this is important for you. I know what you're thinking, like, wait a minute, isn't being vegan supposed to be uber healthy? The answer is yes, and then the answer is no, because if you don't pay attention to some certain nutrient deficiencies and minerals that we need, it can be a coma death thing. It can be a bad thing. And we're going to talk about that. So the 4 major concerns. Here we go. Nutrient deficiencies are major concerns in a vegan diet. The human body was not designed to eat only plants. Now, I'm sure I'll get a lot of calls or emails or just some nasty thoughts going through your mind, but it's the truth. Why? Because the body requires B12 and DHA, and none of those are found in plant-based sources. They're not. So through evolution, we needed those things. We got them from animal-based foods. In the 21st century, there are things like fortified tofu or tempeh. What's one other one that I'm thinking about would be nutritional yeast. There are fortified products, grains, and cereals that have B12 in them. But that's now. That's not then. So my point is that the body was not meant to go without animal products and not have B12 and DHA. So I guess really all I want is that, being vegan doesn't have to be an argument, but it just needs to be an acknowledgement that, okay, look, maybe your body wasn't meant to do this, and that there are some special concerns and some things that you need to look at if you want to do it safely and do it with health in mind. Moving forward, for those of you guys who were listening and not watching, I'm going to jump on the topic of iron right now. So iron, what is the problem with vegans and iron? Here's the problem. Non-heme iron, so iron from plant sources, is not readily absorbed. The absorption rate is poor, plus phytates that are found inside whole grains, legumes, and beans, which is the foundation to a vegan diet, prevent the binding of iron. So vegans need about 1.8 times more iron in their diet than a non-vegan. The solution, eating a vitamin C source with meals. Vitamin C helps iron bind, so that's positive. Green smoothies with vitamin C juices, so you can get plenty of great leafy greens that have plant-based iron and mix it with an orange juice or a pineapple juice or some type of vitamin C juice that will help the body absorb that iron from the smoothie. I do believe the U.S. Olympic Center is working on using green smoothies in their athletes, especially female athletes, to see if they can improve iron levels. Supplementing it with a multivitamin that contains iron is a good start. But I would like to end all of this iron with visit your doctor, have your iron levels tested if you're vegetarian and or vegan. I do not recommend single nutrient multivitamin supplementation by yourself, especially iron. It is dangerous, it can be toxic, and your blood work should be done regularly. So I think if you want to be vegan, you plan to be vegan, your child wants to be vegan, go to the doctor, tell them this is what's going to happen. Can I have my iron done? Can we have it done regularly to make sure that my diet is sufficient? That's where I would start, and then I would definitely look up a dietitian to give you a hand in finding these foods. We have a green smoothie recipe on our website that is available to you to pull down, which can also help. Moving on, for those who are listening and not watching. And again, we have this on Facebook and YouTube, so subscribe if you want to watch. Moving on to zinc. What's the deal with zinc? So zinc is found in a lot of foods that vegans eat, so you shouldn't really have a problem getting it in, right? Beans, nuts, and seeds. Well, here's the problem. Those phytates that we talked about that prevent iron from binding, that are found in whole grains, they prevent zinc from binding as well. And the problem is that vitamin C will not improve that. So I think on average, a vegan needs about 50% more zinc. What's the recommendation for this? You can eat yeast-leavened bread. So yeast or sourdough cultured type bread actually improves the zinc absorption. You can sprout your beans and or grains. What those do is it helps remove the phytates. I'm sure you've heard about soaking your grains to do that. And a multivitamin in this case isn't particularly bad. And I have an asterisk by this because when you see the next slide or two, I'm going to talk about multivitamins. All right, zinc, let's sum it up. Phytates prevent it from binding. You need more. Maybe a multivitamin is a good idea. Moving on to B12. Now here's the big one. B12 needs supplementation. B12 is not found in plant products. There are some sites and some vegan sites that inappropriately recommend sea vegetables. They don't have B12. They have analogs or B12-like compounds, but they do not have B12, and it should be supplemented through a vitamin. There's no way around it. I don't know what to say. You should do it. You need supplement B12. There's no reliable plant source. It's not going to happen. Tofu, tempeh, those things coming out of the ground won't do it. Now, if you find a tempeh or a tofu that has fortification, that's fantastic, but soybeans by themselves do not. B12 is made in the gut. Yes, that's true, but it's not made in sufficient quantities to prevent anyone from not having a deficiency. And what does a deficiency cause, and why does this even matter? Well, B12 deficiency will cause anemia, and it will cause severe nerve damage. And as that progresses, it will end up in coma or death. That's a bad thing. Folate is a problem because it actually masks the anemia and B12 deficiency. So you can go to the doctor, they can do a blood test, and your hemoglobin is fine. You don't show that you're anemic. Oh, my B12 is fine, but wait a minute, folate masks that. Now they need to take a look at some other things to make sure that that's not the case. That's why it's important that you talk to your doctor and let them know what your diet and lifestyle is so they can do the appropriate tests to make sure that you're not deficient. B12 Solutions, 250 micrograms of a daily supplement. Little amounts are best. So the absorption rate of B12 is inverse to the amount that you take. What that means is if you take large quantities, you're going to absorb very little. If you take little quantities over every day, your body will absolutely absorb more. So little amounts are better because it's an absorption process. Right now, 250 micrograms per day is recommended. You can also do like 50 to 100 per day and then take 1,000 micrograms once or twice per week. There are different ways to skin this cat. I think the 250 per day or every other day is a reasonable solution, but most importantly, it needs to be done. Moving on to another item that's not easily obtainable in a vegan diet is DHA. It is an essential fatty acid that's considered an omega-3. Now, you may be taking an omega-3 or may have heard of omega-3s. And if you listen to our last podcast, we talked about the problem with omega-3s and the way they're portrayed in the media. As a vegan, you can certainly eat walnuts and flaxseed, and you can get great EPA and ALA, which are a different form of omega-3. But as humans, we do not convert those plant-based sources to DHA very well at all. The best way is for us to eat the animals who do that for us. So most of the studies do show that vegans who are not on a DHA supplement actually have very, very low DHA levels. It is recommended that they be supplemented. Now, what does a vegan do if you can't take fish oils or you won't take fish oils because it goes against what you believe? Then a vegan algae-based omega-3 that has DHA in it. Make sure you read the levels. It is super important that you pay attention to that. Want more info on fats and omegas? We actually did a podcast on this, and you can check us out if you want to listen on SoundCloud or on YouTube. You should subscribe so that you can watch the videos. So let's summarize this really quick. The 4 major concerns for vegan diets: iron, zinc, B12, and DHA. Now, maybe you're considering, okay, maybe vegan isn't where I want to be, but I still want to do the right thing. Lacto-ovo vegetarians can avoid many of these deficiencies with the addition of milk and eggs. Pescatarian or pesco-vegetarians, those who just eat fish, can also do the same because fish is a fantastic source of B12, a great source for DHA. But if you insist and want to be vegan, make sure that you do follow some nutritional guidelines and that you're getting your iron tested, that you're making sure that you're taking extra zinc, that you are supplementing B12 because it needs to be done, and that you do have a vegan algae-based source of omega-3s that contains DHA. All right, that's the end of the podcast today. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, you can email me at adole@bodyfuelspn.com. You can check us out on Facebook at BodyFuel Multisport. And of course, I'd love you to sign up and subscribe to our YouTube channel, YouTube BodyFuel SPN, or check us out on SoundCloud. It all helps. All right, thanks. Have a great day.